Hello guys, welcome to a brand new video of Koti Threads. So, this will also be my first long form video on this channel. And today I'm going to tackle a question which haunted me and annoyed me till the end of what I thought was like, I won't be able to solve this unless I take a trainer, which is not practical in some cases. In some cases, you want to figure out your own things, and I can completely relate with that. I did it myself. You can definitely do it. So, this question is basically how to start a program. First things first, I'll just go on the basics. So, a program is just how you work out and what is your general ideology in terms of working out. Now, why is this question to be tackled? This question is one of the biggest questions in terms of starting workout. Now, generally, when you start working out in the first year, first 1.5 year, whatever you do will yield results. I am in that stage, so I know that anything I do will give me results. But to maximize this stage, the most important thing you need to do is get into a good program and maintain a good diet. And lastly, and in short, I dream of the same thing, but don't run after the gains or the cuts that you want because you will not get that. You will just become a skinny person with just the definition but no actual muscle. And then you won't be able to get that mass later on because you will have sacrificed these newbie gains to get that. Now, I have personally been inspired and completely motivated into getting into a good program by Jeff Nippert. So thanks a lot to that dude. Like, bro has been one of my greatest teachers in terms of this. And this workout is based on a word which he coins as power building. Now, what is power building? So, if you are here watching this video, you must know what is powerlifting. Powerlifting is basically the technique and the game which involves lifting very heavy weights from the earth in the case of deadlift or pushing the bench press, etc. Bodybuilding is another sport which everyone wants to do, and bodybuilding is just getting into a more aesthetic physique, building a good physique, and getting the definition, the muscles, the striations, everything. Both of these sports separate, I would say, at a very advanced level because basically both the sports require a good muscle, having a good exercise routine, and hitting the gym and eating well. Broadly, this is the same thing, and even the one of the greatest legends of bodybuilding, Ronnie Coleman himself was a powerlifter on the powerlifting team for the start of his age, as he has said on one of his podcasts. Now, what to do to build a power building program? First thing, if you are going to be power building, you need to focus on the big three movements, that is the deadlift, the bench, and the squat. Now, personally, deadlift is my favorite movement, and that you would be able to see on my Instagram page also. Koti Threads, the same page, because deadlifting is the most anabolic movement, I would say, for myself. I love the feel it gives me and all, and followed by bench and then squats. But I love all of the three, not equally, but still I love all of the three movements, and I did not want to skip on them just because I wanted to go into more of a bodybuilding or aesthetic physique. So basically, this goal or the rep range of both the sports will vary, as if you are focusing on powerlifting, you will be going for a lower rep range of say 3 to 5 reps, and for bodybuilding you'll have to get hypertrophy, which science says that you get equally as long as you train with enough intensity and a higher rep range, anywhere between 3 to 30 reps. Personally, that might apply to advanced or intermediate stage lifters. I am not yet at this stage, and most people who would need help in making a program would not be in that stage because, as I say, like you generally have a good program before you can progress to an intermediate stage. So definitely no point. You will definitely skip the video because I'll be focusing more on people like myself or even more of newbies than myself who have just started the gym, who have no experience in terms of what a good program is, what a bad program is. So basically, I would say that never start off with a program like this. In fact, you should get the first 2 to 3 months on a program that focuses on the full body. Why? Full body splits are tiring. When you get intense, they will cause you overtraining. But full body splits get you accustomed to the workout. So now I didn't get to start deadlifting 150, 140 kgs from day one. I admit I am no great coach or I'm not great science based lifter, but definitely I am an ego lifter and I do ego lift. I'm not denying that. But if for this particular rotation, at least three of my five sets are with good form and acceptable or very good form, the fourth set gets into a slightly poorer form, and a fifth set is basically me just trying to pull the weight off the ground for the first part of the week. But generally, you should start focusing on the form in at least the first few months of training, because the first 2 months are where you learn and get accustomed to the equipment. 2 3 months you will just spend learning about the gym, learning about the equipment, exercises, what works for you, what does not work for you, and so on. Now after that, I personally transition to my next 2 months for a push pull leg split. Push pull legs work for me, but somehow I felt that it was not enough. Like some days for the maybe the back bicep, I overtrained. For the chest, shoulder, tricep, I might have undertrained. I have no idea. I did get gains, yes, but that is my newbie gains, and that is not how I could maximize. I've been trying this for about 2 weeks or so, and the change is dramatic. I can literally feel the change in my workout. I can feel the change in my exercise after going shifting to this program. So basically, the philosophy of the program is that for the first 3 days of the week, that is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I would focus more on the big three and I will try to pull as much weight as I can off the ground. So, maxing off my sets as much as possible to get on a lower range of reps, that is just 3 reps for a set for the deadlift, 5 sets of 3 reps, and RP 8 to 9, which basically means that I am in no position to walk quietly for at least about half an hour after my workout and I'm panting, sweating. I need a good amount of at least 5 minutes of rest between two sets, etc. 3 to 5 minutes of rest. After this, I focused on these other exercises, which you might say that, come on, dude, you are just saying that start doing this, but then also don't focus on that. I'll come to this later. But then for the Tuesdays, same similar philosophy for the bench press. Again, 5 sets of 5 reps with the maximum my body can push. This was followed by squats on Wednesday. And as you can easily see, squats they has very few exercises as compared to the above two, but I'll come to the reasons for that slightly later. This changes on the next 3 days of the week. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the game changes into more of a bodybuilding style workout where I focus on pause deadlifts. So powerlifting is a sport, or is a sport which I've heard at least, which needs not only strength, raw strength of just lifting the weights, but a good technique to go along with that. So for training my technique, I decided to go on a higher rep range, as it is quite obvious that to train your technique, you don't need low reps, high volume. You need simply a large volume of reps. So you need to do 20, 30 reps per set, per exercise, and those should be very slow and controlled. This has been one of the best decisions I have personally taken on my workout for one simple reason. They let me know my weakness. To give you an example, my general set on Monday for deadlifting looks something like starting with a warm up on just the bar. After that, my first set is loaded by something like 70, 80 kgs, next to 100, and then I end my set towards something like 140 kgs or 130 kgs. Now, when I shifted from that to a pause deadlift, the maximum I could pull off the ground for 8 reps correctly was 100 kgs, and I honestly would say that even in that 100 kg set, I could only do 4 reps with correct form, because pause deadlifts makes you lose one of the most important factors that you generally use when you're lifting weights: momentum. You cannot push the weight by the strength you have generated from another muscle. So you need to pause at a movement which lets you know which part of the movement you are weak at. And this has definitely been a huge change in terms of my training. Similarly, the philosophy is basically the same for the pause bench and pause squats. But overall, that is how my general week would look like. Now, as you know, pause deadlift, or not just pause, but deadlift, bench, and squats, the big three, are compound movements. They focus on more than one muscle group. For example, your glutes are bound to be overtrained, not overtrained, but your glutes are bound to be trained correctly by both the squats as well as the deadlifts. And as you are going heavy and generally focusing very much on the muscle, they are going to be trained by both. Similarly, for the quads, you will train your quads very much in the squats as well as the deadlift. But for example, your shoulders, I understand that the bench press does focus on the front delt, but to get your the dream of the 3D shoulders, the 3D rounded shoulder look that everyone chases around for, what you need most is the lateral head. Now, lateral heads are not targeted. Similarly, biceps are targeted less. The triceps are indeed targeted in the bench press, but personally, I feel that stretch movement, that is, an extension movement for triceps, is not present. So I added tricep extensions to my workout. And shoulders need one compound movement at the very least, based on my personal opinion. I added shoulder press too. Now, these exercises have nothing to do with weights, the amount, number of weight you are lifting, or the amount of reps you go. These are very, very, very important to be taken with a good form and be trained to failure, in my opinion, every single time. But like, my idols or my inspiration in terms of this, Jeff Nippert, says that he has, or the research says that there is no need to train to failure every single time. You can leave one or two reps in the set. But personally, I feel that failure training is the way to go, because generally your mind works to cheat the way out the reps. So cheat reps are very good, that is a different thing. But to stop before two reps will never occur until you know where your failure is. And if you are confident that you can stay exactly one or two reps before your failure, well and good. But generally that won't happen. So I would suggest that just train till you cannot go one more rep beyond that. So this is how my general schedule would look. For deadlift, anyways, the biceps and most of the back is used for support. So I decided I'll train it on the same day. So that is how I came up with this schedule. The biceps are trained and the back is trained completely on this day. After this, for the Tuesday, most of the exercises require my back to be supported, except for the shoulder press, which uses some amount of my back. But still, overall, other than shoulders and cross cable pullovers, in fact, even cross cable pullovers just target your rear delts mainly if done correctly. So the back is completely rested on that day, with some amount naturally being used as support or something. But most of the times, the back is rested. So that is when I focus on my bench. Now, after deadlifting, it is bound that your legs are going to be fatigued. Your whole body is going to be fatigued, because deadlift is the most fatigue inducing exercise and my favorite, because yes, it is also anabolic. I know if you want to just get into the deadlift zone and lifting, but you need to stop. You can't just deadlift every day. That is one more thing I learned across my year of training, and not just in the gym. Like, I have been training in the gym for about 4 to 5 months now. But overall, other than this, I have been going for training regularly for the past 3 years. Training differently, calisthenics, everything I have tried. I personally like the gym the best, but to each his own. After this, in the Wednesday routine are squats. Squats are very, very tiring, and for after doing squats, generally you won't be in a position to do much, and your body does need rest, because deadlifting is very strenuous. After that, you're going to train your legs on the squats, and legs can be a hard day for most people. I personally like training legs, but I understand it can be very hard. So after that, there is a simple routine of just calf raises. And one more mistake which I feel that every single person is making because of the trend, I would say, it is not necessary to train our abdominals, but training abs is very important. Like, see, the aesthetic part of the abs will definitely not come until you get into maybe something like a 15% body fat range. But the thing is, that applies for every muscle. Maybe your chest will start looking more developed because it is a bigger muscle, and you tend to lose fat there faster as compared to, I would say, other places. But still, you do train your chest, right? Or similarly for the your back muscles, you won't be seeing your back muscles for most of the time unless you pose in the mirror. But again, you do train your back, right? And it feels good. Similarly for abs, until you get into a lower body fat range, you are not going to see them, but that does not mean you can skip training them. You should train them, and abs are one of the most exercises in terms of stabilizing your body. For squats, for the deadlift, extremely important for the deadlift. Like, personally, I do use the belt for heavier weights, but I have been trying to get into a better beltless deadlift since day one, because in the end, you're not going to get a belt when you're living practically or doing anything. So I'm not talking about the ones who are competing or lifting actually heavy weights, but going into a beltless deadlift and training abs is a really good decision for an overall strength increase increment in the body. So legs and abs are my two workouts I do. So cable crunches and hanging leg raises. Again, a very basic routine for abs, and they will be the only two exercises you need, and having a progressive overload on them like most other muscles. Now, as I said, the workout in terms of the exercises I do will look pretty much similar, except for the fact that I add a pause to the movement, which I emphasized on earlier, as paused deadlifts have helped me a lot. Paused movements give me the biggest benefit that I can get to know the weakness of my routine or the weakness of my exercise. In these 3 days, the main goal behind my workout is, as you can see, technique. Technique is very, very important. I am repeating this, but I am no kind of stickler for form. I myself have ego lifted. I am going to ego lift. I do ego lift, but improving the technique is always good. Like ego lifting can help you get beyond your failure and have an extended failure sets. That is the cheat reps I was talking about. But the technique part of it has to be improved, because that will also be a factor when you go into a powerlifting competition, if so. And the second part of it is a very celebrated word, that is the mind muscle connection. Now, personally, I could not feel the said mind muscle connection at least well about 3 months in my training, because the muscles were not that developed yet, I would say, because the muscles I train generally you will start feeling them and getting the feel of the workout when you can develop them to a certain margin. That does not happen in one day. You will have to go to the gym, start working out, keep at it for a few days, and after that, maybe you would feel that muscle burn. And when that burn comes, you start feeling the muscle. That is when this part comes into play. And I try to focus on this for the next 3 parts of the week. And honestly, this also does work when I'm training for hypertrophy in the other days, but that part is slightly marginalized because I'm comparatively much more tired and mentally fatigued during those 3 days. So that is it for my general schedule. Lastly, I would like to get a very important point into the picture. As a beginner, or as a, even I would say somewhere in the ends of the beginner stage, you are not going to train your muscles to such failure that you will actually need a complete rest day. Those things personally are for advanced lifters, because they actually lift such amounts of weights and have such a tension and fatigue built up on their body that they need to have a complete rest day, maybe more than even one complete rest day, to avoid overtraining, to avoid breaking their muscle beyond repair. Yet after this point, I would like to suggest one thing: do not have a proper training on Sunday, because this is going to burn the hell out of your body. For Sundays, I personally go for maybe a walk or a jog or a run sometimes, at least about 6 to 10 kilometers, somewhere between that range from my house on the roads, not on the treadmill. I have nothing against treadmills, but personally I like it on in the outside. I like the rain, as it is raining here recently. So I like to keep an active rest day rather than a completely rest focused rest day. So that is what my current program will look like. I'll definitely try and post my updates and what I learn through my journey of fitness on this channel. Please like, share, and follow for more if you like this video. Thanks a lot.